First off, thank you to everyone for joining us today. Obviously, this session is about digital marketing strategies, and what I basically mean by that is using all of your digital assets to better market your clubs. So by digital assets, I mean websites, email marketing, social media. All of these different types of things can really be used to benefit your business as a whole. So we're going to walk through a bunch of these things today, and I've actually put together a strategy that I think that you can start to implement at your club that could really help you from a marketing standpoint. So we'll go ahead and get started. Chances are, if you're anything like just about every other business out there today, specifically clubs, your goals probably look something like this. You probably want to generate some new memberships, increase participation, generate additional revenue at your club, and you probably want to report and track on all of these different things. Well, the nice thing is online tools can really help you do all these things. You've got a lot of power at your fingertips, and in most of the tools you're probably already using today. If you start to put together a real strategy, you understand what your business goals are, you can really start to achieve some of these things. So what I've done is I've put together this process. And it basically breaks down as step 1, measurement and modification. Step 2, understanding your audience. Step 3, building relationships. And step 4, generating leads. Now, I've broken down today's presentation into each of these 4 stages, and I'm going to talk through them in order. And we'll start off with measurement and modification. So this may seem a little counterintuitive. Why start with measurement? Well, realistically, a lot of what you do with your online campaigns, with your online marketing, comes from really understanding how people are behaving on your website, how they're interacting with your emails, understanding how they're really paying attention to the things that you're saying in social media. By measuring the performance of all of these different avenues, it opens up a world of possibility for you. And really, it just gives you a lot of information to base your programs on. So I'm not sure if anyone on the line today knows who John Wanamaker was, but he was a businessman in the 1800s. And what he said then holds true today. He said that half the money he spends on advertising is wasted. The trouble is he just didn't know which half. Well, this is just as true today as it was then. If you don't understand your entire business and you don't understand what's working for you and what's not, how are you ever going to get better from a marketing standpoint? How are you going to increase your programs, the performance of these things? One of the things that we do from a Jonas software standpoint, from a Jonas Club management standpoint, is we actually take all of our print advertising and turn it digital. And what I mean by that is if anyone out there reads Boardroom Magazine or Club and Resort Business or any of the publications from the CMAA or the HFTP, you'll see Jonas ads from time to time. And in the bottom of these ads, there's almost always a little URL. But it's unique to each ad in each publication. So it will be jonasclub.com/crb/boardroom/HFTP. The reason we do this is because every time somebody clicks on that specific link, we can track that. So we understand which magazine, which publication is performing better than the others. This is the great thing about digital media, is now everything is trackable. We can really understand how our businesses and how our marketing efforts are performing, and then we can improve on them over time. So I want you to think about establishing some ground rules. First off, identify your goals. Whether you're looking for new memberships, generating outside revenue, boosting member participation, and then set your key performance indicators. And basically what I mean by this is look for conversions or any action that someone can take on your website. Whether it's a member logging in, whether it's someone downloading a membership brochure, anything, filling out a web form, all of these things are actions, and they're very trackable, and they're great indicators of performance on your website. And then you can set targets for each one of these things. So I've come up with a couple of quick examples that I want to show you. So 2 fictitious clubs that I've come up with, and 2 different scenarios completely. The first club is Markham's Greens. It's a young club and it needs new members. So that's its overall goal, get those new members through the door. What they want to do is select an indicator of success, a KPI. So for them, it's membership information form submissions. How many form submissions they're getting per month is the indicator of how successful their marketing campaigns are. So their target's going to be 10 form submissions a month. And I'll talk in the next slide a little bit about setting those targets as well, because right now it might seem like these are just arbitrary numbers I'm pulling out of nowhere. Richmond Hills Golf and Country Club, it's a mature club with a waiting list. So their overall goal is boosting member participation. So they're looking at member registrations for upcoming events, and specifically in this case, it was their 4th of July party, and they wanted to see a 15% increase in online registrations. So like I said, different scenarios, different clubs, every club's a little bit unique, so your goals are really going to be your own. And it's important to understand, again, what your business goals are so you can figure out where these goals are, what the indicators of success are, and then you can set your targets. But setting your targets is so important. One of the things that you can do is you can look at your historical data. Look at how you've performed in the past. For each of those goals on the previous slide, I'm sure they're looking at how many form submissions they're getting per month anyway, what new campaigns they're pushing out, what translates into success for them. This allows them to create relevant and achievable targets, and then they can modify based on that performance. The bottom line here is, and this is why this whole section is at the beginning of my presentation today, when it comes to measurement and measuring your efforts online, data is really what guides your efforts, because marketing is math. If you figured that you've got one new membership this year that came from a form submission, and you had 100 form submissions which came from 10,000 website visitors, all of a sudden you've got a great formula. 10,000 website visitors for every new membership conversion. Marketing breaks down as math, and this is really my inner nerd coming out here when I'm talking about this, but that's really what it is. If you look at your historical data and you understand your overall performance, you can really start to set these targets. So what I'm going to do is actually walk you through 4 or 5 reports that I look at on a regular basis when it comes to my websites. And now all of these reports that I'm looking at here and I'm showing you are available through Google Analytics. Google Analytics, in case you don't know, it's a free tool. You sign up for an account with it. They give you a snippet of code that you add to your website on each page, and it will automatically start tracking everybody who's hitting your website and what they're doing on your site. So this first report is just a basic website traffic report. So I can see here that about 7,000 people had visited my website over the course of a couple of weeks. I can see that the majority of traffic is referral traffic. So it's actually coming from other websites that link to my site. I'm also getting a lot of search traffic that's coming in, almost equal with referral. And then below that, I can see when it is search traffic, what keywords are people using in search engines to get to my website. So they're plugging in Jonas Club Management, and it's coming up with a link to my site. I can see here every single person in the top 7 at least that's found my site on a search engine used the word Jonas. That's great. People know the name of my company. However, what this report's really telling me is that maybe I need to do better at generating traffic from non-specific search terms. So search terms that don't contain the word Jonas. So maybe I should be more specific about club management software, golf software, management software. Key terms like this that I can incorporate into my website that can help me get more traffic that's not quite so specific when people search. Again, this is a really simple report, but you can see already the type of information that I'm able to take away from it. This is my audience overview and really my performance over time. And with this performance over time, what I've done is I've charted a month of traffic year over year. Again, I'm looking at my history and I'm looking to see, is what I'm doing today working compared to what I've done in the past, and where is it different? So you can see the blue line is my traffic from this year. Obviously, overall, my median is a little bit higher, so I'm generating more traffic on average than I was at this time last year. But I can also see here around June 7th on that timeline, I had a jump in traffic. Well, this is the great thing about Google Analytics and their timelines. It actually allows me to put in little annotations. So every time I send out an email blast, or every time a press release goes out, or I send something significant out on social media, or we launch a new campaign, I can make a note of that in Google Analytics so that next year when I'm comparing my traffic, I can look back and I can say, okay, well, we did this at this time of year and it generated this amount of traffic. This is really important. Again, it gives me that benchmark to really understand how my marketing is performing over time. This is my conversions report. And a few slides ago, I mentioned conversions are basically just actions that people take on your website. So you can see here on the right-hand side, conversions, actions, they're actually called goal completions within Google Analytics. A lot of terms for the same thing. But I can see here people are coming to my website and they're completing my goals. The way that I have this set up with Google Analytics is that every time someone completes a web form on my site, whether it's a request for a quote, whether it is a request for more information or pricing of one of our products, as soon as they complete that web form, they're taken to a thank you page. Well, Google knows that every time someone hits one of my thank you pages, they have to have completed a form first, and that's what registers as a goal completion. So I can see here on my chart, it goes from the middle of May to the middle of June, and one of my days I really spiked. I had close to 10 goal conversions on that one day. Well, this is great, but on the left-hand side, what's even better is I can actually see which sources are delivering me the most conversions per visitor. So I can see here with Google, I'm actually getting 51 conversions for every 1,800 visitors that come to my site. In my mind, that's great. And these are people that are out there looking for me and finding me on Google. So what this says to me is while direct traffic is still delivering some conversions and referrals are delivering some conversions, what I should really do is concentrate on increasing my overall optimization on my website so that people can easily find me in Google, because those are the people that are most likely to actually fill out a web form on my site and request to be contacted for more information. And in the end, that's my end goal. I want people to request information. I want them to hand over their information. This final one is called, it's my sources and keywords. And it's, again, a really basic report, but it gives me a lot of great information. Specifically, it tells me which sources are delivering, what keywords they're using to find me, if it's a search source, how many visits, and then some information about what people are doing on those visits. So when they get to my website, I can see that on average, people are viewing 2.25 pages per visit. Their average visit is about 1.5 minutes on my website. The percentage of new visits, how much new traffic is coming to my website rather than returning traffic. And finally, I can see the bounce rate. How many people visit the first page of my website and then leave because they realize it's not the content that they were looking for. All of this is great because it really gives me a better picture of all of my different sources and how I'm performing with each one of them. Which source really is the most effective for me? And again, Google looks like it's great. I've got a high average time on the website at 2.5 minutes, visiting 3.2 pages per visit. Good numbers there. So again, all signs are pointing to me that I should really be focusing in on optimizing my searchability, how well my website ranks in search engines, because that seems to be delivering the most effective form of traffic. So that kind of encompasses measurement and modification. And as you can see, what it really allows us to do is hone in on how people are behaving on our website, how they're getting to the website, and again, which marketing efforts are having the most success for us, whether most of my traffic is coming, again, from Google or from social media or direct from email marketing. All of these things are important to help me really understand how I need to move forward. But it's also great at helping me understand my audience, which is also so important when it comes to any new marketing initiatives. What I want to challenge you to do is to better understand your markets. 3 things will really help you do this. First off, I want you to ask your members. Ask your members everything. Ask them all kinds of questions, and I'll talk about this in more detail. Secondly, segment and then sub-segment your market again. And third, really ask yourself how people communicate. So asking your members. Don't be afraid to ask the questions. Every club probably has a few members that really like to let you know what they think about how things are operating, right? Well, take advantage of this. Throw hypothetical scenarios at people. Form focus groups. One of the interesting conversations I had a few weeks ago was when I was in New York, and I was talking with a club who had recently formed a focus group of expectant mothers. So they brought 4 or 5 expectant mothers into the club one day for a meeting, just a casual roundtable discussion, a little focus group, to find out what kind of services and programs they would be able to implement for these new mothers in the next 8 to 12 months that would really help them, getting started with a new baby. And really quickly, what the conversation actually turned into was not what these expectant mothers wanted over the next, year to year and a half. It turned into what they wanted to see in 4, 5, 6 years down the road. So immediately, just by forming this one quick focus group, this club had a great picture of what they needed to do over the next 5 to 7 years to really retain those family memberships. Exit interviews are also really, really important to your club operations, and hopefully you're all doing this already. Basically what I mean, when you conduct an exit interview, that's just really getting as much information out of people when they decide to leave your club. So whether they're leaving strictly for financial reasons, whether they just don't feel as attached to your club anymore for one reason or another, or whether they have a bad service experience, it's important to really dig into these things and understand why it is that people are losing that connection with your club. And one of the things that I would really recommend that you do is use your Jonas club management software to start digging into their history. So once you've done that exit interview and you've got the topmost reason why they're leaving your club, really dig into it. Start to look at the trends. I guarantee that at some point over the last year or two, their spending habits have dropped off. Their regular visits to the club have become more intermittent. Maybe they hadn't been to the club in the last 3 or 4 months, and all of a sudden you get a resignation letter from them. It's so important to use this data because it allows you to establish trends. If you start doing this for every single member that leaves your club, you've got a great benchmark that you will be able to go back, look at your existing membership, look at their current spending habits, how often they're currently visiting the club, how much money they're spending in all these different areas, and then really understand what members you have today that might be at risk. Remember, the more information you have, the better. So it never hurts to dig into the data that's in your Jonas Club management system to better understand your membership trends that are happening today. And segmentation. Everyone's different. Everybody on this call is different. But is your target market the same as it was 10 years ago? Probably not. And if your target market has changed, has the way that you think about marketing and promoting your club changed at all? Or are you still doing the same old things? I'm going to challenge you again to really understand your market a little bit better. Segment your market. Break them down into those subgroups. Everyone joins a club because they want to be a member of a club, right? But what are really the intricate reasons why they do so? Are they most interested in your food and beverage program? Maybe you've got a great wine cellar that they wanted to get access to, fantastic golf course, or maybe it's the social scene that they're most interested in. All of these things are so important when it comes to understanding your existing membership. But also it's important to understand where your future members are going to come from. Are most of your members not willing to drive over 20 to 30 minutes to get to the club? Well, then that limits your geographic area. Are most of your members today of a certain demographic, or is that demographic rapidly shifting? Are you going to be a completely different club in 5 or 10 years than you are today? Just saying young professionals or any other generic term is not enough. Really better understand it. Do you want young professionals with a family? Do you want young single professionals? Are you going to focus mainly on specific types of businesses? Are you going for doctors or lawyers? Do you already have a large number of these people? All of these things are really important to help you understand where to market your club and how. Just as important, though, is being self-aware. This is something I see all too often, that the club with a fantastic golf course, but may not have a whole lot else to offer, doesn't have a great food and beverage program or a pool or a daycare or anything like that, all of a sudden they decide they want to be the family-friendly club. And how are they going to do that with nothing but a fantastic 18-hole golf course to offer? For them, their target market should be those core golfers, guys between the age of 35 and 55 who want to get out after work or on the weekends, play around, not be interrupted and bothered by a whole lot of things, and then get back to everything else that they've got going on. Being self-aware is so important because it really will help you understand better the types of members that you can attract to your club. And then ask yourself how they communicate. Understanding how people communicate is so important, whether they're using social media, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, whether they're active email users. A lot of universities and colleges have actually stopped distributing email addresses to new students now because students just hardly ever read emails. Are they active mail readers, though? Would a direct mail campaign out to your existing members or to prospects be much more effective with that demographic than trying to use email or trying to use social media? And again, ask yourself, what language do they use? Now, this seems really specific, but I'll give you an example. I was visiting my grandparents in the summer, and I was speaking with my grandfather about what it is that I do for a living. That I talk to clubs and I help clubs and businesses understand how to communicate with people and understand the internet and how to use these different online tools. And my grandfather said, well, great, he said, you can help me. I said, all right, Gramps, what do you need help with? He says, well, you can help me learn more about the internet. I said, okay, what is it you want to know? He said, what's a website? So right there, I knew that we were going to have to start from the ground up. I said, all right, Gramps, we'll start with the basics. But it really led me to a thought. My grandfather is an active internet user. He has been for a few years. You know, every night after dinner, he'll go down to the basement, he'll turn on the computer, he'll read up on his favorite sports teams, all the scores, all the stats, the standings, everything like that. He knows how to use the internet well. But the fact is, he doesn't understand and doesn't use the same basic terminology that I do. When your members or your prospective members type something into Google, what do you think it is that they're typing? I know with my grandfather and I, we might be searching for exactly the same thing, but the language that we use will be completely different. My grandfather will go to Google and he'll type in an entire sentence complete with punctuation. Whereas with me, I'm a very specific searcher. I'll go in with specific keywords and phrases to get a very targeted result. My grandfather, once he sees the search results, he might be more likely to click on a sponsored ad. Whereas me, I'm always going to go for the organic search results. Again, a lot of these things are just breakups in the different demographics that we represent. But if you as a club, as an organization, and every business is the same in this, if you don't understand the people you're trying to market to, you're not going to be successful. Because right down to its most basic level, you've even got to communicate with them using their own language. So if you better understand your audience and you're reporting and measuring and modifying your programs, this gives you a great opportunity to do one thing, build relationships. And that's what success in business is really built on. It's building those relationships, and especially in the club industry. Relationships really are built through regular communication and value, adding value to your existing memberships. So social media, email marketing, blogging, all of these things are ways to better communicate with your membership. And I want to talk about each one. Social media. I've been giving social media presentations for the last 5 years in the club industry. And I'm happy to say that we're finally seeing the change where clubs everywhere are really starting to embrace social media. Everyone's realizing that it's not something to be scared of. Even if you're not still actively using social media for your club, I really want you to start listening to the conversations that are happening out there. I guarantee that even if you don't have a Facebook page or a Twitter page or you're not on Pinterest, there are people out there using these mediums to already talk about your business, to share their thoughts and their feelings on what type of business you really are, how good is your club, what type of experiences they've had. Start paying attention and listening to these conversations. Once you realize they're taking place, you'll be able to get involved and you'll be able to facilitate these conversations. You'll be able to get positive conversations happening about your club. And you can be a thought leader. Using things like blogs and discussion boards and topics, all of these things are opportunities for you to use your club's expertise. And I'm going to talk about this as we move through this section, but believe it or not, you've got a lot of experts at your club that can really contribute to the outgoing message from your club. Your chef, your golf pro, probably someone on your food and beverage staff who's an absolute nut about great wine. All of these people are experts about something, and they can all contribute to an outgoing communications plan. Just think how great it would be for your members to go on Facebook once a week and see a new recipe that your chef has posted, or a tip from your golf pro. All of these things are opportunities for you to become experts in these areas. And it also allows you to push that traffic back to your website, which is so important if you, in the end, want to capture those leads and track those conversions and really understand where people are coming from and capture their information. Email marketing. Email marketing is so important because it really allows us to segment in a much more specific way than just about any other tool. Think about it. How many emails do you get on a daily basis? If you're anything like me, probably between 100 and 300 emails a day. How much time do each one of those emails have to catch my attention, though? 2 seconds, tops? I'll whip through emails first thing in the morning and delete 50 or 60 out of my inbox in a matter of 2 or 3 minutes. We go through things quickly. Things have to jump out and catch our attention. And nothing's going to catch our attention more than emails and communications that are specifically tailored to us and to our interests. Using an email marketing system For example, Club Broadcast that ties back into your Jonas Club management system is a great way to do that. Just think if you wanted to send out an email blast for an upcoming wine tasting that you're doing at your club. Well, go into Club Broadcast and create a list of anyone who's purchased wine at your club in the last 3 months. You can do this with your Jonas Club management system. Using Club Report Generator, you can go in there, you can create a list of anyone who's purchased wine in the last 3 months, and there's an automatic export from Club Report Gen right out to Club Broadcast, so you can send out an email to that list of people. But it also allows us reporting. Reporting is fantastic. I can't tell you the amount of times that I've had people say to me, you know, I didn't receive that email or I didn't know about this, so I can't be held responsible. Well, email gives me fantastic reporting and allows me to go into the system and say, well, no, I know that you did receive the email. In fact, I know that you clicked on 2 of the links and you forwarded it to a friend. Reporting is great, and it also, with email, allows us to push that traffic back to our website. Again, that's something I'm going to keep harping on because it's so important for us to push that traffic back to our sites and capture that information. Blogging. I'm not sure how many clubs represented on the line today have blogs or are thinking about starting blogs, but I can tell you in my travels through the user groups over the last month and a half, more and more clubs are looking into this as a viable opportunity to better communicate with their memberships. But one of the things that a lot of people don't know is the real power behind blogs actually has a lot to do with search engine optimization. Every time you create a new blog article, it's basically the same as creating a new page on your website. And search engines love this because every time they see that you've created a new page on your website, they understand that you're actively creating content. So they then come back and check on a more regular basis. Not only does this give you an opportunity to have these individual blog pages indexed in Google or Bing or every other search engine that's out there, but every time they come back to check on one of those new pages, they're also crawling the rest of your website. So it's new opportunities for you to get picked up for new search terms, new keywords, always increasing your searchability. And of course, you'll be able to drive traffic. Once you become experts in these areas, just think, if you've got the premier golf course in your area, why wouldn't people in the local area, not just your members, want to hear from your golf pro, a tip a week? Be keyword rich in your blog posts if you do move forward with this, though. This is really important because obviously the more often that search engines are coming back to look at your site, the more you want them to pick up on these specific keywords and terms. So think about your business and think about what you're trying to promote and find ways to work that into the content of your blogs. But obviously your number one goal here needs to be quality content. If you're not delivering quality content, believe it or not, search engines will know. If you're just lacing your entire article with keywords and key phrases to try and boost your SEO. But also, you're not going to get people coming back to your blog time and time again. And that's really what you're looking for, because when they're visiting your website and visiting your blog over and over again, it's a great opportunity for you to upsell and cross-promote other things that are going on at your club. So all of this seems like a lot. I know it does. But you're not alone. Really think about how often you're going to communicate. Start to consider how often are you going to publish that blog, or how often are you sending out a tweet or a Facebook post, or how often are you putting something on your Pinterest account. And then start to make a real schedule. This is something that I do on an annual basis. One of the first things I do each year is I create a communications calendar, and I give it to important key staff members. These key staff members are people that I depend on to help me get content out. So within the company, the monthly newsletter that hopefully you're all receiving from us, that content sent in to me from anywhere between 3 and 5 different sources. It comes to me, I handle the editing of it, the final formatting, and we get it out to you guys. Well, that wouldn't happen unless I had put that communications calendar together first and put responsibility on those people. So go to your chef, your food and beverage manager, your golf pro, whoever you're going to have contributing to your different communications plans, put this schedule in front of them and say, look, this is what we're trying to do. Once a month, I need a paragraph of content from you. I know you can handle it, but it's going to completely simplify my job. We all wear a lot of hats, anybody in marketing, but especially marketing in the club industries. You've probably got 3 or 4 other jobs you've got to perform on a daily basis. Putting together a communication schedule allows you to hold someone's feet to the fire when you need to, but it also sets realistic terms and will really help you accomplish a regular communications pattern. And then add value. So this one might seem a little bit self-serving, but bear with me. Make your website a place of productivity. So think, when was the last time you actually called an airline to book a flight? Or when was the last time that you called a hotel to reserve a hotel room? We do all of these things online. We're so used to these things every day that we sometimes forget that, yeah, our members probably expect it as well. Give your members the tools that they want, not just because it's what will help satisfy your membership, but again, also because every single time they come back to your website, that's another opportunity for you to upsell and cross-promote. So every time they access your website to book a tea time online, you should have your upcoming Pro Shop specials listed on that same page. Every time they come to your website to book a dining reservation, you should have upcoming events and different things like that that are being promoted in your dining areas. Same thing with upcoming events. They might sign up for one event but say, hey, did you know that we've also got this going on in 3 months' time? Register early today. All of these things, these are opportunities to keep people coming back time and time again. Online tea times, dining reservations, court booking, even their monthly statements. And it gives you another opportunity to capture that information, to track how they're behaving, and to cross-promote and upsell the different services and things that you've got going on at your club. So measurement and modification, understanding your audience, and building relationships. If you're doing all of these things, what it really leads to is the opportunity to generate those leads. So I've said time and time again throughout the presentation today that it's so important that we push traffic back to our website. But are we really doing everything that we can to get as much traffic as we can? Well, the one thing we haven't really touched on, aside from a little bit when we talked about blogs, is SEO. How do we really generate that last bit of traffic from the general public and from everybody else who's looking for us out there? It's with search engine optimization. So we'll talk a little bit about that as we move forward. And then we've got to look at, what are we really trying to accomplish? Well, it's conversions. It's getting people to take those actions on our website. And how do we go about that? Well, landing pages and web forms come into play there. So all through this presentation today, I've been talking about using these different tools to push traffic back to your website, your main source of information. You know, right down to your business cards, your brochures, all your different online tools, your blogs. All of these things should push traffic back to your website. But the one thing we haven't touched on is search engine optimization. How do we capture that last little bit of traffic? Well, it can seem confusing, much like this slide. There's a lot of misinformation out there about search engine optimization. And one of the things that I'm happy to tell you is that it's actually not quite as complex as a lot of people out there make it seem. There's a lot of big companies that make a lot of money every year off of confusing people. I don't think we should be confused about search engine optimization. What we have to do is be prepared to put in the work that it takes. But really, it's not that complex. So what we've done is we put together 3 rules that we call the rules approved by Mom. Because let's be honest, if anybody's ever going to remember any rule, it'll be the ones that Mom gave us growing up. So try and remember these just as well as you remembered those. Number 1, always look your best in search results. Page titles, domain names, meta descriptions, all of these things will help your website appear much better in search results. Just take a look at the screenshot below. This is the search result that you get when you search for Jonas Club Management in Google. So not only are people getting the opportunity to see one search result, the main page for Jonas Club Management, but because I've used proper page titles and descriptions, they're now getting 6 additional opportunities here. And more so, they've got an opportunity at the bottom to click for even more pages. Again, proper page titling and then page descriptions give me a lot here. Not just one opportunity to find an interest and a reason to click on my website, but 6 additional. Rule number 2, be clear, concise, and courteous to help search engines understand your images. So this means proper file names, alt text, and text captions on the actual page to describe your images. So take a look below. This is another screenshot from the home page of our website. And what you can see here is this little flyout box. If you've ever left your cursor of your mouse over top of an image on a website, you should see a little box like this flyout. This is what's called an alt tag. And a lot of times they're just not added onto images on websites. Well, this is a real missed opportunity because search engines really, in essence, they're not that smart. they can't interpret images in the same way that we can. They don't understand why an image relates to the content on the rest of the page. So it's up to us to tell them using these alt tags. So what you can see here is we've said that our alt tag states fully integrated websites and mobile solutions. This is a great opportunity for us because now a search engine can look at this image, they can understand what the image is about. In addition to that, though, that gives us new search terms. Fully integrated websites and mobile solutions might not actually appear anywhere else on our website or on this particular page. But now because we put it in as an alt tag in this image, it gives us two new search terms that we could potentially be found for using Google or Bing or any other search engine that's out there. Rule number 3, take pride in your work and work hard at it. I want you to provide useful and relevant information on your website and keep updating it. This can be a daunting task for anyone, to go through your website, look at all the pages and what you might be able to update. But fresh content is content that search engines want to look at time and time again, just like we talked about with blogs. And then using keywords. Really trying to incorporate specific keywords into your actual site. So if you want to be found as, the most walkable golf club in all of Indiana, then there are some search terms related to that you really want to incorporate into the content in your website. Now, using the Google Keywords tool is actually a great idea, and I'm going to show you this on the next slide. This is the Google Keywords tool, and I want to suggest to you guys that you use it in a way that Google had not intended. What this tool was originally designed to do was promote search terms to sell you as pay-per-click advertising. So for example, up at the top here, you can see that my search term that I plugged in was private golf club. Competition on this search term is low. There's only 12,000 global monthly searches, 8,000 some local monthly searches. So what they want to do is give you the opportunity to buy this keyword, so that anytime somebody clicks on your ad after searching for this, you would pay whatever between $25 and $4, 25 cents and $4 per click. But what they also do is they spit out a whole bunch of other keywords and search terms. This is important because what they're doing here is they're saying, hey, maybe these also apply to your business. So the reason I wanted to show you this is because you don't have to spend a cent. This is a free tool to go online and take a look at. But what it's going to do is spit out hundreds of other ideas that maybe you would want to incorporate into your website. So by searching for a simple term like walking golf club, it might come up with hundreds of other search terms that are related to that you never would have thought of on your own, that you could now incorporate into your website. Just so you know, this tool and a whole bunch of others is included on the very last slide of my presentation today, where I've created a page that you can go to for download links and how-to guides and all kinds of different things. So all of this leads us back to our website. If we're capturing as much traffic as we possibly can from all kinds of different sources, what is it leading to? Well, it's leading to conversions, people taking actions on our website. So whether that's submitting a form, downloading a brochure, or even a member just logging in, it gives us the ability to measure, to track that behavior and understand which of our marketing efforts is working best for us. So landing pages, very important, and a term that we throw around, but whether you know it or not, you're probably already using landing pages. They're really designed just to capture leads, and they can be anywhere on your website. So for example, a landing page on your site that you probably already have is, if you have a golf course, you probably have a page or two just dedicated to information about your golf course. That's your golf course landing page. Same thing with your food and beverage department. Same thing with your pro shop. All of these different areas of your club, you probably have specific pages on your website that you can optimize to capture some leads. This is a landing page on our website. This is our Golf and Country Club's landing page. And if I was to go back a few slides, you'd actually see that in that search that I showed you in the first rule, this was our first returned additional result. So we had the home page for Jonas Club Management, but right underneath that, we had Golf and Country Clubs. Well, this page actually is responsible for delivering a lot of leads to us on a regular basis. And personally, I think it's because we're doing a few things very right here. First off, we state that this is for golf and country clubs. We give them an overview, tee time management, inventory, point of sale, everything in between. But then we immediately move on to telling them what to do next. we tell our visitors what we want from them and what they should be doing on this page, and that's getting more information. We immediately push people to this web form. We ask them a couple of simple questions, and we want them to submit their information to us. Again, if we can't capture some information from people on our website, then it might all be for nothing. So web forms are so important to us. And really, it's important to just ask for the information that you really need, because shorter is better. So if someone visits your golf club or your golf course landing page, and they fill out a form, or they're going to fill out a form, think about what information you really need to capture from them. You probably already know why they're there. They're interested in your golf course. So there's no real additional reason to ask them those types of arbitrary questions. Get to the point. What's the minimum amount of information you need from them? Probably just a name and an email address or a phone number so that you can follow up from there. Make it easy for people to hand this over. And on top of that, automate and personalize the response that goes back to them. So with any content management system like, for example, the one we use with Clubhouse Online, you can automatically have an email returned to someone who submits a web form to you. And you can use their information to customize your response. So for example, anyone on the line today who signed up for our user groups, you would have received an automated email that came right back to you from us saying, thank you for signing up. Here's all the information that you just submitted. Please take a look at it, make sure it's accurate, and if not, give us a call. Otherwise, we'll be in touch soon. Think about automating and personalizing responses from your website, from your landing page web forms, from your golf club. Here's all the information that you just submitted. Thank you for contacting us. We'll be in touch with you soon. In addition, though, maybe you want to have a look at our Pro Shop page or at our tournaments page. Again, another opportunity for you to upsell and cross-promote everything on your website, everything at your club, just through a simple automated response from a web form. If you can put all the pieces together, from measurement and modification to understanding your audience, building relationships, and then generating those leads, you've got a real recipe for success when it comes to online marketing and digital strategy. So hopefully I've given you the overview of that today. Hopefully I've kind of painted that picture for you. And what I want to do here is give you the opportunity to go to jonasclub.com/downloads. And once you're there, you can actually download a lot of great content. There's getting started guides for Google Analytics. There's links to the Google Keywords tools. There's social media guides, all kinds of different things that you guys can take away from this presentation today, now that you have an overall strategy to look at, and you can start to build on that. So again, my name's Trevor. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Jonas Software, and I wanted to thank you guys for coming out to the presentation today. If anyone has any questions, please feel free, throw it in the chat window, and I'll be more than happy to stay on the line for a few minutes and address anything that comes up. Otherwise, thank you guys very much for attending our online user groups. Have a great day. Hi, everyone. Hopefully you can still hear me. I've got a couple of questions that came to me privately, and I'm just going to address them generally. One question said that board members are adverse to social media, and this person was wondering how they can kind of calm those board members' fears and convince them that it's the way to go. Well, I think there's really two things that you can do there. Last year, the CMAA actually published a report about social media, a real getting started guide for social media. And it was really great. It was, for one thing, it was a getting started guide, but also it really talked about legal liability and limitations and how realistically for private clubs and for nonprofit clubs, there's not a lot of legal limitation there that clubs need to be worried about, or not nearly as much as everyone thought. It paints a great picture. On top of that, one of the things that I would probably do is take a look online and start finding some of these conversations that are already happening in social media about your club. I think everybody knows it's better to confront problems and confront questions and concerns that people are raising rather than to just turn your back and let conversations happen without you knowing about them. So I would definitely recommend those two tactics to kind of try and start to educate your board members as to why this is a great opportunity for you to communicate with people. There was actually a great quote from a social media business entrepreneur a few years ago. He was on a panel in at a session, and someone stood up and asked him, what's the real return on investment of social media? And his response to the audience was, if you can't understand why it's important to have a good, open conversation and a better relationship with your customers, then you shouldn't be in business. Now, it was a little harshly worded, but I like that principle. Social media is just another form of communication. There's no reason to be scared of it. I'm sure a few people were scared of using a telephone when it first came out as well, but realistically, we don't need to worry about these things. It's just another form of communication, another opportunity for us to have these conversations with people. The second question that I got in regards to starting a blog or where to go. One of the things that I would recommend is, obviously, WordPress is a huge presence in the industry. It's a great place to start a blog. If you're using a Clubhouse Online website, there actually is a blog feature built right into the website itself that you could use. So that's a great place to look. It's fairly easy to use. And that way you don't have to do anything special to host it off of your own website. It's already set up as a page on your website with subpages. So it's nice and easy to go from there. I think that was it. If anyone else has any questions or any follow-ups to my answers, please feel free, again, use the chat window. Love to continue the discussion if anyone's interested. Otherwise, again, thank you guys very much for coming out today.